See, that wasn't hard. It was just 2 whole seconds. You were able to do it. Okay, so we're ready. Let's rock and roll. All right, so I was gonna do the Rice Murdoch thing where the Watch It Potato Head, but he actually has to move 5 spaces before he can, do this ability. I'm not sure I'll ever use that card, to be quite honest, now that I know what it does. What's really weird is I don't need to go to the islands if I can just put hacking tokens on the islands. It's almost cheaty to be able to do that. But right now, there's nothing on the board. So we can't do anything, really. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start moving one person to the right and one person to the left, but our lead is over here. So let's try to bust up our suspect. And in doing so, we need to get hunches, by the way. For each hunch discarded, a cop may reveal the top card of the case deck. And for each clue revealed into play, then put each clue revealed into play. Then shuffle any other revealed cards back into the deck. So we could get some clues out, but we don't have any hunches. These 2 particular cops we picked aren't very good so far at getting hunches. That's one drawback. That Chance Mitchell guy was way better at this. So, but I think, yeah, let's move towards that. So we're gonna get Rice into his Rice-mobile here, because it's made by Toyota. So it's a Toyota cop car. So we're gonna put him in his cop car here, and he's gonna go 1, 2, 3, like so. And I know we didn't really talk about this, but that's actually a full street space, so nobody else could actually go in there right now. So that was his move action, and then he gets to play a card. So let's get one of his tactics down. So we'll get wild card in play. So he can exhaust it to reduce the resistance of a target by 2. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So we're gonna do that for him. And that's his card, and then he's just gonna do another, no, he's gonna gain a hunch with his action. So we're gonna do that. And I know we've done this plenty of times, but just to remind everybody, you get to do a move, a card, and an action. So he moved, he did the card, and he did the action. We did not have to do it in that order, but that is how it worked out. And I already failed. I was supposed to do dispatch for each of the players. So let's do his dispatch. All right, so he actually has a crime. All right, Q1. I thought the board was really empty. I'm already off to a very bad start, folks. Okay, Q1 is here. So his armed escort, by the way, it's going to, if there's 3 influence, either discard a vehicle you control or suffer 1 stress. So this one does not go on to the criminal like the other ones do. So we do finally have a different mechanic than just, influence goes to the criminal. But anyways, yes, that guy is there. And then let's do Renee's. Renee's got a crime. Well, actually, Renee has this one. And then Axel has that one. So we actually have R28 and P13. So I'm just making room here. All right, so P13 is going to go right here in front of the camera. And R28, they're all down here. So why am I going after Anatoly? So while he's on this card, we can punch him in the mouth. We can make him lose an influence. but we don't have any clues yet. So we need hunches to do that. So maybe instead of moving there, we're gonna go ahead and go 1, 2, 3, like that. Actually, that's really good because then he can get out of the car and he's already next to one of the crimes. All right, so that's what Rice will do in his turn. So we're just gonna change where he moved to, that's all. Because we forgot to do dispatch. I was being a dork. Okay, so then let's go to Axel. Axel's going to take a hunch for his action as well, because hunches I think are going to be premium at this game. And then he will get in his vehicle. Yes he will. And let's do that. And then he can do a move. So he will go 1, 2, and 3, like that. He can exhaust his vehicle to move one more because he has a crime in front of him. So we do that. And you know what? If he would have gotten out of the car here, Axel can get out of the car there. Look at that. They can actually both be with that crime. I don't know if that's what they want to do, but sure, let's do it. Okay, so now we get to Renee here. And Renee is going to want to do her little action there. Place a hacking token in any space and then encounter a target near it. So we're going to do that, and we're going to encounter which one? So the one that's on Q1 over here, I'm checking it, has 1 resistance to the cautious approach. Then the one all the way over here on R28 has 1 resistance. And guess which one has 0 resistance? The one that we have 2 cops sitting around. All right, probably not the best in the world to go after that one. So we're just gonna go after this one here in this corner. So we put a hacking token next to it. I could actually put the hacking token on the space, but I actually think I want to inch it up that way because I could move it later. All right, so then we get to encounter it. So I'm going to roll 2 dice. And there's a crit and a success. Oh, look at this. So we had 3 successes and 2 hunches. So she's going to get 2 hunches for that. Always good in the neighborhood there. And then 3 successes. He does have 1 resistance, and he needs 4. So we'll put 2 on this particular criminal. 2 out of the 4 that are needed. And it's just right over here, that one. Still, not bad. And then we get to play a card. So I think we want to do her tactic since we don't really have much else. So this one is an interesting one. You may interact as if you were in each space of your, not sure why that's helpful. Encounter a target near, and you may choose the approach. So I think that part's the good part. So we'll do that and get that in play for her. Okay, so now we got to resolve the crime locations. We finished B there, so now we're in the crime phase. Activate each card in our crime area, left to right. So I'm just going to start this way. And this guy, either place an influence or you're blackmailed. Each influence on this card increases each of its resistances by 1. This card cannot have more than 2. Oh my goodness. Blackmail is not good. We don't want to do that. And the resistances are pure 0s. So we probably should have taken this one. All right, we're going to put an influence on it. Put a ring on it. Okay, now we come over to here. This one's the one where you have to discard a vehicle or something. So we'll go ahead and put it on there. And then this one cannot have more than 3 influence. If a 4th would be placed, you get blackmailed. Place 1 influence on this card, then roll 1 die for each asset on the board. For each crit, place an additional influence. Well, there's no assets yet, so that part's good. All right. And so, hey, where's the thumb?
You get no thumb.
You got requests. People wanted you to do more missions. You wimped out on us tonight.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Or Wednesday.
You're not going to be home tomorrow. Lying jerk. All right. That was Jason. In case you were wondering, he's our resident Brook City master here. I'm going to get him back to the table. Okay, next is the draw phase. All right, so Axel here. Got another one of those. That's another one. And then Rice. If you're driving, you may suffer 1 stress to discard your vehicle to move to any Brook City location and encounter. So he's pretty wild for sure. And then Renee here. Encounter, then you may place 1 progress on a crime within 5 spaces of the token. Okay, done. All right, so we're done with that. So now we gotta flip our card here. And we're gonna do the criminal's turn and then the case turn. All right, so let's start with the criminal. All right, there's nothing here for the first step. And then for this one, if Anatoly's on the board, he gains an influence. Otherwise, each cop either discards a hunch or is blackmailed. Oh, gosh. Each time Anatoly blackmails a cop, choose the crime in your crime area that contains the most influence. Suffer 1 stress for each influence on that card. If you suffer no stress this way, then draw. Oh, so blackmail's not that bad. Now, in this particular case where he could have chosen to be blackmailed instead of taking this, that would have forced him to draw another criminal card. So that's not necessarily a good thing. But right now, it just means he's going to get a stress. So 1 stress for him. And let's go grab some stress tokens here. They're all getting blackmailed, so 1 stress for her and 1 stress for him. So, oh, she didn't move during her turn. We forgot to do a move, and if you don't move, you heal a stress. So should we have moved her? Where would we move to? That's the question. I guess we could have moved towards the lead. Sure, why not? 1, 2, 3, then exhaust for 4. And she's next to the lead, so she can bust what's his name without even needing to use a hacking token if she wanted to. Okay, so back to the regularly scheduled program. If Anatoly is not on the board, either discard a hunch from this card or place 1 asset in a random location. All right, so we gotta place an asset. So we just draw a random here, B30. So the asset is gonna be all the way in the airport. Okay. You can place, so we get to place 2 hunches on this card to discard that asset. And if there's hunches on here, then every time this activates, that's all it does is just remove 1 hunch. If there's ever 3 or more assets on the board, discard 2 of them, and then Anatoly comes out onto the board, and that of course causes bad things to happen, like him getting the influence to win the game. So we sort of have to do that. And then this last one, of course, is the smuggling thing. So this is now there, like so. Okay. Next we come down to here. If there are no clue cards in play, each cop suffers 1 stress. So another stress for everybody. All right, and then we're gonna draw a card. It's an event. 1 cop may discard a lead to place 1 progress on a clue. If no clues are in play, each cop not controlling a lead suffers a stress. Oh, we're up to 3 stress. Ding, ding, ding. That was a bad start. Okay, so now we're back to the beginning. And let's not forget our dispatch this time. So I'm just gonna go grab 3 cards. And it's gonna be just left to right. And this one is gonna go to Axel. Oh, Q23, they're just coming out, aren't they? Q23, it's not very far from the other hunch token. Is it within 5 spaces? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it is. Very interesting on that one. And this particular one could get a lot of influence. Oh, and then we got another one here, B31. So that goes on rice. B31, all the way up in the airport. And then the last one is an event. Each cop must either discard a lead they control or they are blackmailed. So when you're blackmailed, suffer 1 stress for each influence on the card. Boy, the blackmails are just brutal. All right, so we're up to 4 stress on every cop right now. This one needs the guy who heals you. He really does. I think this might be a case of me picking the wrong characters again. All right, so we finally get to go. I think Axel needs to get rid of this one before it gets worse. So we're going to try to do that. The resistance is now a 1 here. Or actually Rice could do it, because he can actually get extra. You can roll an extra die. And he can reduce the resistance of a target by 2. Yeah, we'll have Rice go first. And he's going to exhaust this card to reduce the resistance of it by 2. Now the question is he going to encounter it? How's he going to encounter it? We might play a card instead of using his ability. Because I don't necessarily need the 3 dice if I use his ability. I might. Here we go. I'm going to play this card. So I get an extra die no matter what by exhausting this card. So I'm going to do that. So he's got 2 tactics in play. But I still need to encounter this guy. And I can't do it through a card anymore because I've already done my card action. So I got to do my main action. So I am going to encounter him, and that means I'm going to have to suffer another stress or discard a card I control. I'm not ready to do that yet, so I'm going to just suffer a stress, and now he's got 5 stress. He's pretty high, but he does get to roll 4 dice. And he's doing it doesn't matter what approach. He has no resistance. So there's 1, 2, 3, and that's all we needed to beat the cop down, or the crime. So then he'll gain a hunch for that. And the cop, or the crime here, is gone, and that's this one over here. So the influence token goes away, and there is no bust effect. We just got rid of it, that's all. And we're gonna go ahead and discard that. And then he gets to do a move. So he can get back in his Batmobile here. And he's going to ditch his vehicle. So, vehicle's gone. And he's gonna pop up here in a corner. So he can go to the keys if he needs to, but he's gonna try to deal with them. So, that was his turn. And so now we got Axel here, who was going to try to do something and now he can't. Axel could ditch his car to get to other end of town, and that's what he's going to do. So for his move action, he's going to get into this and then ditch it. So his vehicle's now gone, and he's going to ditch it to go there to take on that guy. So Q1 or whatever that is, it does have 1 resistance. So let's see. He's going to do this one, wide network. Each cop may either draw a lead or gain 2 hunches. Now, of course, it's a good debate on whether he should draw leads or get hunches. But if everybody has a lead, he actually has another card that says everybody who controls a lead may discard a stress. So that's something. But having a lead is going to be helpful too because it gives you a nice ability. And every cop is allowed to control 1 lead. So I think this is a good time to get those leads for everybody. And I know the hunches would be nice because if you have 2 hunches at the start of your turn, you may discard, well actually you may discard any number of hunches to do this. But there's also something else that if you have hunches, you get to do things. I think it's to the criminal over there. Anyways, the point in this game is you need a lot of hunches. So, but right now I'm going to draw 3 leads, and I'm just going to go left or right here. So let me grab 1, 2, 3. Friction, friction. There's so much friction on these cards. Okay, so here's his lead. He can choose a cop and place 1 progress on each crime in their area. That's perfect. This one, during an encounter, they can gain an extra die. That's for Rice here. And then I did end up drawing 4. Discard 1 influence from each card in your crime area. That goes to Renee. So I'll put this back. Okay. So he did his move action. He did his card action. So now let's do his attack action. And actually, what are we going to do? He's going to take the 2 hunches instead of that lead, and here's why. I'll explain it. I know it's a retroactive decision, but part of controlling multiple characters, he has to choose a cop to draw a lead after he does his action. So I'm going to keep the lead card that I drew for him. It's just that he doesn't have it yet until he does this encounter. So instead, he took 2 hunches whenever he had played the card. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, so let's encounter this guy. Like I said, he has 1 resistance, so we're only going to get to roll 2 dice for the encounter, and that's it. So he's probably not going to make a lot of progress here. But he will if he gets crits like that. So, oh, another crit. Oh my gosh. So that's 4 successes. It had 1 resistance. And, oh, the guy needed 4. But that's still pretty good. We put 3 progress on him. I probably should keep these progress tokens a little closer to me. So it's this guy right here. So 1, 2, 3. He has a resistance of 1. That was the issue because this was a cautious encounter. And yes, I'm going to rearrange some tokens here. I have some tokens I hardly use in the game closest to me, and I can get those a little further away. All right. Okay, so he's done. I still think he made some decent progress there. Still haven't gotten any of his tactics. And last but not least is Renee. So here's the thing with Renee. We can do something over there, or we can start dealing with the smuggle goods. I I think Renee is not going to move, which heals 1 stress. Okay, that's the first thing she's going to do. And then the second thing is let's play one of her cards. I think I want to do this one. So we're going to encounter the target over there. Then we're going to place a progress on a crime within 5 spaces. So that's why you saw me doing the counting. So this person's going to get a progress after we encounter that person because it's within 5 spaces of my hacking token. Yeah, so let me grab a progress right now, and that is on R23. So let's find where R23 is. I'm sorry, Q23. So he's up 1. Still within 5 spaces. And yeah, 1 progress out of 4. We'll take that. Okay, and then yes, let's roll the 2 dice for this one. It is a cautious... Where's her discard pile? Oh, she doesn't have one yet, that's why. All right, so it is not a cautious, it's a by the book. Good thing I went and looked that up again. So that's a by the book, and this particular guy on R28, oh, by the book has 0 resistance. This is actually even better. So 0 resistance. Oh, that's what I got. So 2 successes, and I can draw 2 more hunches. I think I like the idea of getting the 2 hunches. This particular one needs 4 successes. Oh, he already has 2 hunches on him. I'm looking over here. He already has 2 hunches, or 2 progress, I mean. So yes, we will just take the 2 hunches, add them to her collection, and then with the 2 successes, we just got 2 more progress, and this particular one is gone. R28, down for the count. Okay, so that's all 3 of them. And now we got to do the crime. All right, so we start with him. He gets an influence and then has to roll a die for each asset on the board. So 1 influence, and then roll a die. It wasn't a crit, which was good. If it would have been a crit, he would have gotten another influence. So this one on Q1 is getting another influence. If he gets 3, then bad things happen. And then this one is actually identical in terms of what they do. Okay, so now you might be wondering, well, if you're blackmailed and you have 2 different cards with influence, it's always the worst one. So don't get your hopes up there. And blackmailed is bad because it could be too stressed for somebody who already has 5. So we definitely need to get some heals going here. That's that. Now we got to draw a card step. So Axel finally got his first tactic. He can exhaust to draw a lead, which is very cool. And he can control an additional lead, also very cool. All right, so that's a decent tactic. This one, forget the details. Encounter, and before this encounter, you may discard any number of cards you control, adding +1 die for each. Jeez Louise. He can just go bonkers. Definitely reckless character, this one. He's all about the dice, baby. And then Renee. Encounter a target within 5 spaces, then you may place a hacking token near the target. Okay, that's a little different than the other one. Caffeine time. Okay, we need a way to heal. Or we got to deal with the cops, or the cards that are in front of Rice. The crimes in front of Rice are a problem. And definitely need to deal with that too. Okay, so let's start with Anatoly here. The suspect himself doesn't do anything. This one basically says we either discard a hunch or we're blackmailed. Well, we're going to all discard a hunch to save ourselves from taking stress. So that was an easy. That's why we want the hunches, baby. Rice is very short on hunches, by the way, but the other two are in great shape. Okay, so then we get to here. If he's not on the board, then discard a hunch from this card or place an asset. So again, we got to place an asset. So E19, another one's coming out. And it's basically right underneath the camera right now. So E19 is right there. And then we got to do Charlie and the Cocoa Chocolate Factory. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Sorry, I was getting bad on my names there. So, see, he got one of those on him. Okay, let's move on to here. If there are no clue cards in play, everybody gets a stress, which blows. So 1 stress for him. We're up to 5 here, 6 for Rice, and then 4 for Renee. So let's see if we can get a clue card in play here. Nope, it's an event. Each cop near a clue token may draw a lead. Each cop not near a clue token must discard 1 hunch. So it basically means we have to discard 3 hunches. Rice is completely out of hunches now, but it could have been worse. So now we're back to the beginning, and let's crack. I don't see any need to go with one player before another. I do think we need to deal with the targets in front of Rice, which is what Axel was trying to do. So, because he's down here, and since the camera's already on him, so let's do it. So his card play is very interesting. We can do this, that would let him get an extra lead. This one is always helpful. We can do an encounter, and then the cop who controls the lead may discard a stress, which is everybody. And I have 2 copies of this. So, thing is what about cautious encounters for Q1? I need to look. He has 1 resistance to this. So let's do it. We're going to do Smooth Talker. We're going to encounter him. He has 1 resistance, but we get to roll 2 dice. Then each cop who controls the lead may discard a stress, which is all of our cops. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Before I forget, let's just do the stress thing right now. So this 5 is going to go back to a 4. He does have 1 stress. So at the beginning of his turn, could he go through this deck? He's going to say no. He doesn't have enough. So we're going to reduce the stress and reduce the stress. Okay, so that is after this attack, of course. So if there's any strange situation there, we'll deal with it. It's going to roll 2 dice. All right, we got a success, 2 of them, and then a chance to play a hunch. Okay, this guy has 3 out of 4 progress on him. Only needed 1 more hit, and we got him. We got him. Book him, Dano. All right, so this one's done. There's no bust effect on this one, but we did get rid of 2 influence tokens on this. It's the Armed Escort. And since I didn't need to use that, I'm going to gain a hunch, which is always good. And that was awesome. So that was his card step. So then he'll go ahead and do a move. So the way the rule was explained to me is that he has to move 1 step and then he can commandeer a vehicle. So what I don't understand is, does he get to keep moving in the vehicle? That part I would like some explanation on, but oh, we got a Suburbarado. During each of your by-the-book encounters while driving this vehicle, you get an extra die. You can exhaust while driving this vehicle to move 1. These guys have a good sense of humor. All right, so let me see if I can find this Suburbarado. I think I got it. Some of these miniatures are in the plastic, really. Oh yeah. Now that is 70s Brady Bunch driving at its finest, folks, right there. All right, so I'm gonna just assume that he's moved 1 space to commandeer the vehicle, and he still has 2 movement left. I mean, this isn't in the rule book at all. So maybe I need to get on Board Game Geek and ask that clarifying question. But that would have been 1, and then he can go 2 and 3. What's interesting is I can't ditch this vehicle to get some extra movement points, but that's fine. We're gonna go 2 and then 3, and then we'll exhaust the card to get a 4th movement out of the deal. And there he is, chugging along. All right, so that was his move, that was his card, and then he gets an action step. So for his action step, he may just grab a hunch. Yes, he will. So he's gonna grab a 3rd hunch. All right, so that brings the end of his turn. So now we're gonna go to Rice. Rice is all the way up in the corner. And I think, yeah, let's do that one. So he's way up there. So we got the asset and we have the other thing. Now here's the thing with the asset. I'm gonna read it one more time. A cop near an asset may place up to 2 of their hunches on this card to discard that asset. Rice doesn't have any hunches because he lost them all. So he had to when he went there, but it doesn't matter. He can just encounter that guy at B31, and that happens to be his other target that's on him. And Rice is all about the aggressive, and there are 0 resistance to aggression. So you can see here that this particular card reduces resistance. We don't need to play it, per se. This one says, during a cop's encounter targeting a crime, we get +1, so he will be doing that. Now, we could discard it and get bonuses and all that stuff. I'm not sure I want to do that yet. But right now, we're at least at 3 dice, and he does need 4 progress. He is not driving a vehicle, so he can't do get in foo bar. He can do forget the details, but this person has a lot of resistance to that type of attack. Well, he could do the half-cocked, which lets him roll 4 dice, but then he has to discard a card he controls or suffer a stress. That's the problem. Oh, you know what? Never mind, we can do forget the details. Before this encounter, you may discard a number of cards you control, adding 1 for each card. Let's say I don't want to discard any cards. That's fine. But what it's doing is I'm now going to deal with 2 resistance because it's by the book, the police hat. But I can exhaust this card to reduce the resistance by 2. So by doing this attack, it's 2 dice, but then I get to add another die because of my other card, so it's at least 3 dice. Now, you may be thinking I'm chickening out because these guys, he needs to start discarding his cards. I don't want to discard his cards until I know I at least have another copy of it in my hand, which I don't at this time. So I just like the bonuses too much. So I'm going to roll 3 dice. It does need 4 progress, so I might be making a stupid move, but let's find out. Crit, crit, and success. So far, it's not been a stupid move. Oh, and then we got a hunch from that one and a hunch from that one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with a resistance of 0 means 1 arrested bad guy. So another, Dano is busy booking them. All right, and then he gets 2 hunches. So the good news is that he didn't have to have them at the beginning of his turn. So it just says a cop near an asset. So what I can do is I'm placing 2 hunches on this card to discard the asset. So this asset that's by the airport is gone. And then so is the bad guy. So He's right now sitting at the airport. Now, he can actually travel to the islands. I'm not sure that's a bad idea. I mean, he's there, why not, right? We were going to use Renee, but maybe we don't need to use Renee to do that. So that's what we're going to do. He's at the airport, so he's going to do the helicopter. And we already know that he's an aggressive guy, and this one has the lowest resistance to aggression, but he does have the ability to reduce resistance by 2 as long as he never discards that card. So Rice is going to go to the Valis PD, and I think the idea here is that he's going to catch the cards as they're moving through the assembly line. And then he still has the helicopter available to him. He can ditch it to go anywhere, including back to the main board. So here we go. We're off and rocking. So I think he did great. I'm just checking my cards here. Okay, so here's our situation. Did I forget to do dispatch again? Oh my gosh, I did, didn't I? I was wondering, like, how does she have nobody in front of her? And how does he already have a progress on 1? Because I know we had 2 and then she drew an event. I think we forgot to do... I am so sorry. Why do I keep forgetting this step? You know what? I need to double check. I can't remember. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video and see, did I remember to do the dispatch step? If I didn't, then I need to get that fixed. So thanks for watching. Stay awesome, and don't forget the dispatch step.